reprise.
Nice clubhouse.
Leave it to the Fast and Furious to shock us with just a trailer. It looks like fan favorite character Han is back, but F9 wouldn't put all the best stuff in the trailer, right? If Han is alive, what else does the character have up his sleeve that's going to throw us for a loop? Well, let's face it, Han's got some unresolved issues. And honestly, it looks like he might not really be Han at all. What if he's a cybernetically enhanced super soldier? What if someone else is wearing his face? It might sound far-fetched, but leave it to the Fast and Furious series to get a whole lot crazier as it dives into its final 2 films.
Let's get to work.
So what does it mean for our favorite Fast family if Han isn't just good guy Han anymore? It looks like the ending to the Fast and Furious saga might end up being more bitter than sweet. So let's spend a moment talking about our main man Han and why he's about to become the Fast franchise's next major villain. We were first introduced to Han Seoul-Oh in the 3rd installment of the Fast and Furious franchise. 2006's Tokyo Drift is definitely not the most beloved Fast film, but it gets major props for bringing street racer and all-around good guy Han into our lives. After Tokyo Drift, the Fast and Furious timeline got a major update to ensure the continuation of the series after the less than stellar film.
No, I mean, not where you live. Where'd you come from?
Does it really matter where I'm from?
One way to keep people interested was to keep Han in the series. But since he was unable to escape a fiery car crash at the end of the movie, the franchise's timeline needed a complete retcon. The 4th, 5th, and 6th Fast films became prequels leading up to the tragic events of Tokyo Drift. But since the Fast saga is pretty much immortal at this point, the movies had to catch up to Tokyo Drift eventually. Fast and Furious 7 and 8 were sadly lacking Han, but Universal knows when they have a good thing going for them. So now Han is inexplicably back for Fast and Furious 9. I know, we're all super excited to see good guy Han reunite with Dom and his family. But there's a good chance that Han won't be quite so friendly with the crew in F9. Director Justin Lin, who has directed every movie featuring Han, is keeping pretty quiet about the circumstances surrounding the character's return. But one thing is for sure, the resurrected character has a lot of grief and trauma to deal with now that he's back. And honestly, he might not even be Han anymore. But I'll get to that part later. So will Han be Fast and Furious 9's new major villain? Let's discuss. Han has proven his loyalty to Dom and the family. He hasn't given us any reason to believe he would ever turn on the crew. But whatever events led to him being alive again could have definitely messed with his emotions, or even his brain. Not to mention that Dom and the crew have done some not so nice things during Han's absence that would make anyone more than a little bit upset. Right before Han lost his own life, he lost the only character in the series that he's ever had serious romantic feelings for. Gal Gadot is busy defeating bad guys as Wonder Woman now, but don't forget that she was once a major part of the Fast franchise as Giselle Yashar, a savvy street racer who eventually became Han's girlfriend. But in Fast and Furious 6, Giselle sacrificed herself to save Han from Adolphson, one of criminal Owen Shaw's henchmen. The loss really affected Han, who avenged Giselle by taking out Adolphson himself. The pair had planned to move to Tokyo at the end of Fast 6, but instead Han took the trip, well, solo. And then presumably he got into that fatal car crash. The family even had a funeral for him. Now, we can't entirely blame Dom for what happened to Giselle, and Han is way too rational to try to get revenge on a friend for an accident. But grief can do a lot to a person, and it's entirely possible that Han has trouble looking at Dom now that Giselle is gone. However, this is only the beginning of a much bigger issue. Han is likely a little upset at Dom about Giselle, but he's a whole lot more upset about someone else. And that someone is Deckard Shaw. At the end of Fast and Furious 6, we find out what really happened to Han when his car was T-boned in Tokyo Drift and he got trapped in the wreckage. It turns out that the vehicle's mystery driver was Deckard Shaw, played by Jason Statham. Shaw wanted revenge for what the crew did to his brother Owen, and sadly, Han ended up being the victim. We all hated Shaw after that. Our beloved Han gone? unforgivable, except Dom doesn't seem to share our beliefs. Sure, Dom and the others weren't happy with the revelation, but then Shaw kinda just gets forgiven. He and Dom aren't besties by any means, but Deckard Shaw became kind of an anti-hero. He even got his own spin-off movie in Hobbs and Shaw, which co-stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Luke Hobbs. The movie did well, so I guess a lot of us forgot our animosity towards the character. But that didn't stop the hashtag Justice for Han from trending on Twitter and starting a huge fan movement that demanded the character get a third chance in the franchise. It looks like we won. Han is getting another shot at being in the Fast films, and since the character is out for justice, it makes sense that he'll try to go up against Deckard Shaw. And sadly, that might mean he has to go up against Dom and his family too. The major piece of evidence that Han will be taking on Shaw is the "Justice is Coming" tagline that appears at the end of the film's trailer. Director Justin Lin is very supportive of the Justice for Han movement. Not surprising since he created the character. He even wore a Justice for Han t-shirt during filming. So it's entirely possible that Han will have issues with both Shaw and Dom during F9. Han seems like a pretty understanding guy, but even he isn't above getting insulted by this kind of betrayal. Do you think Han should forgive Dom? Drop your thoughts in the comments. It's hard to imagine Han really turning into a villain, but the Fast and Furious has set up some pretty incredible technology that could be Han's secret to 1, being alive, and 2, becoming strong enough to enact his revenge. If you think back to Hobbs and Shaw, you'll probably remember that secret shadow organization known as Etion. In the spin-off, Idris Elba plays the very well-named Brixton Lore, a former MI6 agent who got some insane body modifications courtesy of Etion. The mysterious organization believes in improving humanity by merging people with machines.
You're not the man I know.
I am way better.
It's some crazy stuff, but it introduces an entire new path for the Fast and Furious franchise, and it makes Han's return a lot more plausible. Perhaps Etion brought Han back using their advanced cybernetic enhancements. Etion may have even been directly responsible for pulling Han from the car wreck. While Han was injured, the organization could have messed with his brain a little to turn him against Dom. Or maybe they have some leverage. If Han's alive, it's possible that other characters could be brought back as well, like Giselle. If Etion has her, she would be the perfect bargaining chip to get Han to do what they wanted, like take down Dom and his family from the inside. It's also possible that Etion isn't involved at all. Since Hobbs and Shaw has officially introduced cybernetic enhancements to the Fast and Furious movies, there could be other organizations using this type of advanced technology. The possibilities are endless now that the Fast saga is getting a little sci-fi. But what other insane tech could have been used to bring Han back? Let me know what you think down below. This brings me to the next theory. What if Han isn't Han at all? Actor Sung Kang is definitely returning, but who says he has to be playing Han? If cybernetic enhancements are possible, then so are incredible disguises. Let's say that Han really did lose his life in Tokyo Drift. An even bigger twist than bringing him back as a villain would be bringing him back as an entirely different person. So what if the Fast franchise is taking a page from Mission Impossible movies and using Han's face? And really, what better face for a villain to steal than Han's? Dom and the crew trust him, the fans love him, and he's a major scene stealer. If this is the direction F9 chooses to go, then it looks like the movie's biggest villain might be hiding right under Dom's nose the entire time. That would make for some pretty intense moments between the two characters. Of course, I want the real Han back, so getting an imposter Han could be a bit disappointing, but this twist would throw fans for a loop and accomplish bringing back Han without completely erasing what happened to him in Tokyo Drift. Plus, the Fast and the Furious is a huge action franchise now. So why wouldn't F9 want to take a few pointers from other action movies? If more insane tech is introduced in F9, then the Fast films have a bunch of new possibilities to explore in future films. The Fast saga has really upgraded itself in the past few years to become a mega blockbuster franchise that is about a lot more than fast cars. With the sci-fi elements of Hobbs and Shaw and lots of twisting betrayals, F9 could successfully push the series forward into new territory. All I need now is an official Han spin-off announcement. But don't worry, I'll be keeping you updated on any future Fast films.
Get in.
So, how do you think Han survived the crash? And do you think making Han the villain would be an epic twist? Drop your thoughts down below in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to CBR for more. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.